Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a company called Damstra. Share price could be breaking out from a long-term downtrend. In fact, this downtrend really began about 18 months ago in October 2020. The share price almost reached a high of $2.50. But some bad news. I think it was a lost contract, a significant lost contract to that. I think it was American Airlines. Saw the share price move into a downtrend, and negative sentiment drove the share price of Damstra all the way from that $2.37 or 38 all the way to below 10 cents. In fact, I think the share price got as low as 8 cents at one point in time. But it does look like sentiment is starting to shift because of some good financial reports from the company, including the June quarter Appendix 4C, and the share price has tripled from its low from 8 cents to current share price 24 cents. There could be further upside moving forward for Damstra because sometimes when the market is sentiment in regards to a company, it can drive the share price down well below fair value. I think the market was concerned about the ongoing future of this company. That's why you could have bought this company at a market cap of something like $17 million. So let's get stuck into it, this video. But before we look at the company's June Appendix 4C, just a few facts in regards to Damstra. And the first thing we have to do is look at what the company actually does. Damstra is all about protection. They want to keep their workers safe, workplaces compliant, assets and information protected, and risks mitigated. They do this through their enterprise protection platform, EPP. So they want to make sure people are prepared, places are safe, assets are connected, and information accessible. And this is just a few of their products they do have in their EPP platform. And you can actually go to their website, just look at what this company does in a greater depth. But they have workforce management, so that tracks time and attendance, ensure all workers are compliant at all times. Access control, solo, asset management, digital forms, Damstra safety, learning management, and predictive analytics. Damstra, founded in 1998, I believe it was a father and son team, and Christian Damstra was the son of that team, and he's also the current CEO of the company. He has a 7.7% stake in Damstra. The company listed on the ASX just before the COVID-19 financial panic, 16th of October 2019. A big shareholder of the company is Australian Ethical Investments, 5.8% stake, and the market cap. So keep an eye on the share price here, because share price is quite volatile, or has been quite volatile over the past few months. But as I'm preparing this video, share price is currently 22.5 cents, which means the market cap of the company is $62 million, and the ticker for Damstra is DTC. Before we have a look at the most recent Appendix 4C, just want to go back to the financial year 21 June quarter, and on the back of this particular June quarter release, 1 year ago, the share price rallied a significant amount. We able to see that on the chart. I think the share price rallied 20% on this day and then 20% the next day, and the share price went well above $1. So you can just see what happened after this little rally in the share price. The share price then collapsed from above $1 to 8 cents. So just because the company has had a good quarter in the June quarter for financial year 22 doesn't mean the company is turning around just based off their June quarter in financial year 21, because in this particular quarter, the company was operating cash flow positive to the tune of $513,000, and receipts to customers was at $10 million for this particular quarter, which was quite favorable compared to the full financial year, $31.7 million for the full financial year, and they were operating cash flow positive by $2.8 million for the full financial year. Now, they did finish this particular quarter with $9.8 million of cash, and they did have a fair bit of debt, so $13.6 million of debt. And the reason they increased their cash on hand in this particular quarter was because they borrowed an extra $8 million. So let's have a look at the June quarter for financial year 22, and the market did react to this report quite positively, even though receipts from customers was down a fair bit from 1 year ago. In fact, it was down $2.8 million. But more importantly than that, they've really got under control on the spending. So product manufacturing and operating costs down $1.8 million, administration costs down $2 million. So even though staff costs are up $300,000, overall spending is down a significant amount. In fact, it's down by more than cash receipts, the decrease in cash receipts. So that means the company was more operating cash flow positive in this quarter than 1 year ago. And that number, that operating cash flow positiveness, was $1.3 million. Now, they're still spending a fair bit in capital expenditure, $344,000, and $2.2 million in intellectual property. And I believe that intellectual property is research and development. And because they're spending on capital expenditure in intellectual property far outweigh the operating cash flow, that meant the cash on hand in this business still fell. So it fell from 11.9 million to 10.1 million. So keep in mind, even though the company was operating cash flow positive in this particular quarter, they were not free cash flow positive. Now let's have a look at the receipts history for Damstra. And to be honest with you, this is not a pretty look. I like to see receipts climbing through time, and the company has been listed on the ASX for nearly 3 years. So we almost have 12 quarters. I believe this is about 10 quarters of history. Oh, maybe it's 11 quarters. Yeah, that should be 10 quarters of history. And really, receipts are going sideways if you take out the best quarter and the worst quarter. Now, you could argue because the first quarter was 4.6 million and receipts are up to 7.3 million. Receipts have grown from the very first quarter. But then if you look at the second quarter, the March quarter of 2020, receipts were 7.2 million there. Now they're only 7.3 million. So you could just draw a line there. So no real trend in receipts, in my opinion, just yet for Damstra. Now, the June quarter last year, that $10 million in receipts was their record quarter. And the market did react really positively to that particular quarter because it did look at that stage that receipts were growing. And then the customer did lose a client somewhere here. I think it would have lost that client in the American Airlines towards the end of 2020 or start of 2021. And the market overlooked that when they released their June quarter results because it really looked good, $10 million. Unfortunately, receipts have fallen from there. So whether you determine whether receipts are climbing or falling, it all depends on your time frame. If you only look at the last 5 quarters, receipts are trending down. If you look at the last 10 quarters, receipts are trending up. So it's very important for me moving forward, and Damstra and investors at large, that we see continual increases in receipts from here on in, and that way we can determine that receipts are finally moving into an uptrend. Now let's have a look at some charts for Damstra, and this is the weekly chart for the company going back to when the company listed on the ASX in late 2019, just before the COVID-19 financial panic. Share price during that panic fell to about 40 cents or just above 40 cents for a brief period of time, and then the share price rallied like nothing else over the next 7 months. In fact, the share price rose from 40 cents all the way to a high of about $2.40 in October of 2020. And I still remember that time, that one day when the share price rallied to its high, because on that day, or might have been the previous day, an investing recommending service site recommended Damstra to its clients, and it was probably the worst timed recommendation possible because ever since this service recommended Damstra, the share price has fallen. In fact, it's fallen from that $2.40 all the way to a low of about 8 cents, which was about 5 weeks ago. But that does look like possibly things are turning around. There could be a breakout in the share price. So to actually look at that breakout or possible breakout in share price, we have to look at the daily chart. So let's have a look at the daily chart now. Now let's have a look at the daily chart for Damstra, and this goes back to late May 2021. In this particular chart, and I've never actually shown you the moving averages I've shown you in this video in another video before. So what I'm using here is 5 moving averages. I've got the 100-day moving average, which is in purple. That's obviously the top one. Share price has been falling. And then I have 4 other moving averages together. So this is sort of like a moving average ribbon. And the reason I have those 4 moving averages is I'm looking for medium-term shifts in sentiment in a share price or a new trend developing. So what I'm looking for here is whenever you see those 4 moving averages spread apart like you see from about October last year to say late June this year, when they're a part like that, that's well-defined, either downtrend, like in this case, or an uptrend if the share price is moving up. And what I'm waiting for or looking out for here is a compression in those 4 moving averages. And we saw that compression in Damstra in late June, start of July. Those moving averages came together, and then we saw a crossover with the shorter term moving average moving above the longer term moving average. And that was a sign that there is a potential shift in sentiment for this company. And then recently, the 20-day moving average has just moved above the longer term moving average, which is a 100-day moving average. That was in the last trading day. And then on top of that, the share price has moved to above 25 cents. And the reason that's important, last time the share price was above 25 cents was way back in February of this year. So the share price is moving towards a 6-month high, and that is very important for me. I want to see at least a 6-month high in a share price, because that means there's going to be less resistance moving forward, because a lot of those shareholders who bought in higher prices over 6 months ago might have already sold out. So it does look like there was a possible shift in sentiment for this company. Now, just because we have seen a possible shift in sentiment doesn't mean this will continue, because if you remember the June quarter last year, it was a good quarter for the company, and the market did respond to that. Share price actually increased 20% in consecutive days on the back of that particular Appendix 4C. So the share price actually rose from about 75 cents to almost a high of $1.25 in a few weeks, but that potential breakout failed. So there's always the possibility that might happen again. Now, just because it happened last year doesn't mean it'll happen again. Potentially, the company is turning things around right now, and there is a potential breakout right now with Damstra. So if you do want to trade this, I think now could be a good time to take a position in Damstra. And if you're in for long term, now could be a good position, because now we might be seeing the start of an uptrend in the share price for Damstra. And that's all I have for this video on Damstra and their potential breakout on the back of their June quarter Appendix 4C, which was a positive Appendix 4C. Even though receipts are down from 1 year ago, we may be seeing the start of a new uptrend in receipts and a new uptrend in the share price, and a shift in sentiment from this company from fairly negative, highly negative, to positive. So if you have any questions about Damstra, any thoughts, any comments, leave in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.